Thank you for that beautiful song. It fits actually exactly with what I'm going to say today. So this is very good. It's good to be here this morning and to worship God together. This is the third part of my sermon on the life of Elijah, and I entitled this one, Restart or Start. And looking at the life of service that he had, and the point in his life where he arrived where he had a time to reflect on what he has done in his ministry. Kind of makes me wonder of his life very many times resembling our life and our life of service. How did Elijah get to the point of running away from Queen Jezebel? When we look at how upset Jezebel had been, we may say that, well, perhaps it's because of the fury and the anger that Jezebel portrayed towards Elijah. He feared that those words might come true. And interesting enough that Ahab himself did not really have a conversion of heart, because he went to Jezebel and perhaps complained to Jezebel that Elijah had done such an act on Mount Carmel to actually kill all the prophets of Baal and Ashtoreth. And Jezebel could not believe her ears. And then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah saying, "So let the gods do to me and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time." And when he saw that, this is Elijah, he arose and ran for his life. Now, why would he run for his life from the threat of one person? Wasn't King Ahab on Mount Carmel? Did not he have the authority to execute Elijah if he had to, if he wanted to? Didn't he have 850 prophets and all of Israel that did not really believe in God anymore or were unsure? Couldn't he have summed up all these people and chased after Elijah and perhaps kill him? They could have. But yet he stood bravely in front of this great multitude, and then he fell apart when one person threatened his life. You might feel that, well, this is just a sign of weakness, a sign that he did not really have much faith in God. And perhaps maybe you have a point there, but I think there's more to that caused his reaction to be as it was. But then he continues saying in verse 3 that as he went to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, he left his servant there, but he himself went a day's journey in the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree. What was happening when the message that Elijah received from Jezebel, what was happening around that time? Remember that as he prayed 7 times that rain should come, a torrential rain was pouring upon Israel as he ran in front of Ahab's chariot all the way to his place. And then it poured, and it poured. And he was outside in the rain when he received this message. And what was the rain a symbol of? That God listened to his prayer. That God was with him. That God was in his ministry and fortified his ministry during those 3.5 years when there was no rain at all. Even when he felt discouraged, there's still a sign of God's presence in his life, and that was the rain. and he took off in the rain and left. Instead of being reminded of how God had worked in a miraculous way, he left discouraged. And then he prayed that he might die and said, "It is enough, Lord. Now take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." And the first part of verse 5 says, "Then as he lay and slept under a broom tree." You see, Elijah's ministry was not very long. The point when he started to be a prophet was 3.5 years before this moment. But he was not active the entire 3.5 years. He had moments throughout these 3.5 years where he had more of an active ministry. At the beginning, perhaps, some in the middle, and then towards the end of these 3.5 years. He was strong, he was faithful, and he bared all kinds of trials through these 3.5 years. He defended God. He helped Israel also to return back to God on Mount Carmel. He trusted God to provide food and water for him during the droughts. And God listened to his prayer for rain. There were so many things that God did for him and through him that his faith should have been strong and he should have felt encouraged. And yet, it almost looks like verse 4 and 5, this is a sign of deep depression. He took off, ran away, left his servant behind. He wanted to be alone, and now he wanted to die. So here's how you can get depressed in 4 easy steps based on the story. 1, wear yourself out. And Elijah did just that. 1, he had summoned all the prophets there on Mount Carmel for a showdown. And faithfully he withstood that challenge, and he was faithful to God through it all. And then he ran in front of Elijah's chariot, in front of Ahab's chariot for a long distance. Next, shut people out. He sent his servant away. He didn't want to have someone that could encourage him, could maybe share a word of encouragement with him. Then he focused on the negative. He said, "I'm no better than my fathers." Looking at how Israel is, look at how Israel have fallen away from worshiping God. I am not better than them. And then forget God. He forgot how God had worked with him so long through the 3.5 years of ministry. And these 4 easy steps just made him be depressed. But you see, in the time of his depression, the time of his moment when he felt he should quit ministry altogether, when he felt he should quit everything that he has done for God and die, God comes to the rescue. In verse 5, "Then as he lay and slept under a broom tree, suddenly an angel touched him and said, 'Arise and eat.'" You see, God cares for our self-care. Many times when we do ministry, when we do life, when we do all kinds of things in our life that burdens us and takes our energies out, it saps our energies out. And we forget to look after ourselves because we give everything we have to others. God says, take care of yourself. Look after yourself. As he fell asleep, God sent an angel with food and water. Arise and eat. And then he ate, he drank, and fell asleep again. Then the angel prepared him another meal again, woke him up after a certain time, and told him, eat and drink again. Because God cared for Elijah during this time of depression. How much more he cares for you and I when we go through a struggle and difficult times in our challenges and in our life. And he comes and says, arise, eat, rest a while. Because the journey you still have is long. The ministry that I still have for you is still necessary for you to do, and I need you to be strengthened so you can accomplish it. As you and I serve God in many ways, in many ministries, in the